Uganda eyenkya.
They're willing to dialogue. Whereas on our part, we may be interested in dialogue. We cannot force anybody to dialogue with us. We are very straight in as far as this is concerned. Dialogue is going to be between the willing and on the same footing. We are not going to go into any dialogue where somebody thinks they are above us and we are below them. No, that will not happen. We will not dialogue with anybody who continues to insult us and to demean the leadership in Naja Nankumi. We will not. We are not fools to do that. So dialogue is going to be out of mutual respect. Dialogue is going to be out of two parties or several parties willing to dialogue, and in an honest manner, not in a manner where you think you are going to bully us and we are going to accept to lie flat like an envelope while you trample upon us. That will not happen. So we are open to dialogue. Our constitution under Article 8 that I have cited compels us to bring harmony not only within the party but in the country. But if the next day you are going to be talking about us everywhere negatively, looking for ways of splitting the party, you would have offended both Article 12 and 13 of the Constitution, and we will not have any business dialoguing with you.
Nenyongera okujjukiza nti gwe eyetaaga of course abagenda okusigira langi mu ggwanga Uganda ali mu kibuga Kampala ali eweru eggwanga nenga business zo zikolera mu ggwanga Uganda osobola okwekwata banafa ba Ebenezer Painters basanga mu kibuga Kampala era baso kubeera nga basiga ekizimbe ky'olangi okwetolera eggwanga Uganda wonna. Ojja kubeera nga owuliziganya n'omukulu Lule Joseph ku namba z'essimu ezo okubeera nga mukwatagana bulungi nnyo asiga ekizimbe kyo langi egenda okusikiriza buli muntu ekuwesa ekitiibwa ekizimbe ekikuwesa ekitiibwa olwa appearance saako n'okuwa look oba face ekizimbe ekigenda okuteeka bizinensi yo ku mutindo ogw'ensi yonna beba Ebenezer Painters. Brand Pro Property Services Uganda Limited omukulu Ivan yantegeezezza nti mwabali e Dubai yes estate says zolaba buterevu nnyo ziri available ya osobola okubeera nga naawe alinamu ku ssente bangu yagala lyeso genda maaso okukolera emirimu gyo eweeru eggwanga naye mu Dubai n'ensi endala nga UK, USA, saako ne India sofa osobola okubeera nga ofuna ennyumba yes saako n'ebintu ebigwa mu kkowe erya real estate mu ggwanga Uganda osobola ofuna ploti oba ettaka wonaakolera emirimu gyo business oba okulima oba okulunda n'ebirala byonna era ojja kubeera nga obeekwata Brand Property Services Uganda Limited na buli kimu ekyekuusa ku nsonga ez'ettaka ojja kubeera nga obeekwata weetaaga mu surveyor weetaaga ki buli kalonda yenna agwa mu kowe erya real estate ojja kubeera nga beekwata Brand Property Services Uganda Limited.
Today's media briefing is going to be on 3 accounts. The first is going to be about the impending elections for LC1, LC2, chairpersons and committees, and the women committees or councils. The second matter is going to be related to the stability in the party and the relationship of the Forum for Democratic Change with the People's Government. The third, and certainly not the least, is going to be on our plans going forward. What are we as the new leadership going to be presenting to the FDC and to the country in as far as our agenda for the next 1 year is concerned? We have been closely monitoring the actions of the National Electoral Commission in relation to the preparation for the long overdue elections for LC1, LC2, and women councils. And we feel compelled to address several alarming concerns and developments. As the country would know, initially, the Electoral Commission cited lack of funds as a reason for not organizing the elections in time. However, after several postponements, they subsequently released what appeared to be a roadmap for the elections, only later to backtrack and claim it was an internal document released in error. And you know, we are talking about a National Electoral Commission that is entrusted with the responsibility of conducting free, fair, and credible elections, coming to tell the country that an internal document was issued in error. That will tell you about what kind of electoral commission we are dealing with. To us, it looks like the National Electoral Commission may be engaged in games meant to take political parties in the opposition by surprise in order to favor the ruling NRM party. The purpose of these maneuvers, in our view, appears to be aimed at creating confusion and disarray within the opposition political parties and making it difficult for us to adequately prepare for the elections. There is a real risk that the Electoral Commission intends to hold these elections as a surprise when it suits the ruling party's interest, as they have done before. In addition, we also have intelligence information that the NRM wants to exploit the parish development model, commonly known as PDM, to distribute money to voters during these and other elections. And this is going to continue until the election of 2026 in our from our informed sources. As we speak now, the NRM leaders are moving across the country, discriminately distributing money under the guise of the parish development model, some of which will certainly end up in the campaigns. We wish to issue a stern warning that attempts to use any government programs for the purpose of political expedience will lead to failure of those programs and the undermining of democracy. This will to Ugandans seeking other means of bringing change to their country. In light of these concerns, we call upon the Electoral Commission to immediately release a clear and unambiguous roadmap for these elections. We urge the Electoral Commission to desist from playing ping pong and to provide a level playing field for all political parties and candidates. On a decision of the National Executive Committee to recall the resolution that created the People's Government, after a period of reflection and thorough internal discussions, the FDC National Executive Committee reached a consensus to recall the resolution that established the People's Government. With immediate effect, therefore, the FDC will no longer participate in any activities associated with the People's Government. This may only resume when the conflict between the two is resolved. This severing of relations comes after a series of challenges that the FDC has faced, managing two centers of power which have conflicted since 2018, leading to total misunderstanding immediately before, during, and after the 2021 general elections. Our party has experienced internal conflicts accompanied by allegations and counter-accusations that have contributed to considerable turmoil within our ranks, with resultant negative publicity of the party in the media. Regrettably, some members of the Forum for Democratic Change have chosen to adopt a hostile stance against their own party in complete contravention of Article 12 of the party constitution. They have, for example, continued to posture as the legitimate leaders of the party, which matter was settled on the 6th October National Delegates Conference with the election and swearing in of new leaders. They continue to issue illegal notices using FDC-headed paper, use party symbols, slogans, and colors, and continue to brand themselves as such, and have also abused party documents during unauthorized meetings. The party is now prepared to take disciplinary action through a well-constituted committee on discipline against these errant members, and we strongly urge them to cease presenting themselves as FDC leaders. And for your information, the Committee on Discipline is headed by one of the vice chairpersons, and specifically the Honorable Robert Franco Centenary, vice chairperson coming from the West. And this committee also has in place the Secretary for Mobilization, the Legal Secretary, and a member of a committee that is supposed to conduct election dispute, supposed to listen to election dispute, that is the Electoral Election Tribunal. We also call on our members to shun these individuals who choose to masquerade as interim or factional leaders in order to cause a split in the party for their own selfish interest. We would also like to sound a warning to our members that the FDC leadership is not going to tolerate double loyalty or divided loyalty for that matter. And so our members have got a choice to belong here where the FDC is led and where the authority of the FDC resides, or to go elsewhere where they feel comfortable. I want to reiterate the fact that no member has been conscripted into this FDC. Every member comes here voluntarily. They are received and accepted as our members. They get registered in our registers in their villages. They get an identification card, which is now going to come through an automated online kind of system. We have an app for that. And after that, they continue to serve the party. The moment they offend the constitution of the party, the moment they feel that they do not want to continue being within the FDC party, then they are at liberty to cease being members of the party. We want to emphasize that there are no factions within the FDC, contrary to how it has been portrayed or presented in the media. Claims of Katonga faction or a Najana Nkumbi faction are entirely unfounded. And here I would like to seek the indulgence of our friends, the NBS, who have always continued to talk about factions within the party. Katonga faction, Najana Nkumbi faction. My friends, the FDC is not factionalized. The FDC is a single political party registered in the year 2014, coming to 19 years now. The FDC is a party, it's 2004, I beg your pardon. 2004. The FDC is a party that has got a home, and its home is right here, recognized by the regulator of political parties, the National Electoral Commission, under whose authority we have filed a list of leaders So whatever Lukwago and Semujju are doing elsewhere is merely for self, contentment. It's merely for self-satisfaction, but also serves the purpose of deceiving the public, duping and the unsuspecting public, something that we are going to resist as the FDC. And therefore, I want to emphasize the fact that there is only one FDC, and it's crucial that the media immediately cease perpetuating this misrepresentation. This is to you, our friends in the media. For you to be believed, you have got to be accurate in your reporting, because the public also assesses you. You should not be oblivious of the fact that the public knows what is happening. And therefore, they are going to evaluate the kind of news that you churn and bring out. And so our appeal to the media fraternity is to represent us as the FDC as accurately as possible. However, with the guiding principles in the party constitution, and I'm citing chapter 8 that relates to peaceful resolution of conflict, we continue to extend an olive branch to the FDC members out there. This, however, applies to only those holding corporate or life membership and those who are up to date with their membership. Some of these people talking from outside here actually are not members of the FDC. If you went to the register in their village, you won't find their names. So for us, we have no business with such people. Our business is restricted to those who are members, corporate members, life members, those who are up to date with their membership. Those are the people with whom we are going to communicate. Those others who do not belong to us, we have no responsibility for them. All we are asking them to do is to be decent enough and not misrepresent the FDC as a party, because they do not have authority to do that. For those whose membership expires every year and have not renewed it by registering in their villages, in their village registers, they can only be supporters and sympathizers and not members, and accordingly are at liberty to decide whether they want to regain membership of the party or not, whether they would like to form their own entities, whether they would like to belong to other political parties, whether they want to form new political formations or parties, is their own business, not ours. All that we are asking for now is for them all to stop masquerading as FDC leaders. We wish to clarify that during the delegates conference held on October 6th, 2023, a new National Executive Committee was democratically elected and sworn in. The conference also took a number of key decisions, including extending the life of the Electoral Commission by 6 months and replacing the Honorable Ibrahim Semujju Nganda with Honorable Yusuf Sibambi, whom we congratulate as the FDC whip in Parliament. And this has taken effect. We are still waiting for the so-called interim Secretary General, Mr. Harold Kaija, to write a letter receding that decision. And then you will know where our power lies. Yes, you will know where power lies. That has not happened for weeks now. The Honorable Sibambi has settled in his chair and is conducting business in accordance with the aspirations of the FDC leaders. And we are quite happy with what he is doing. On the last matter, the FDC focus areas for the year 2023-2024, that is in the next 1 year, what do we intend to do as a political organization? With the new leader in place, of course, we continue to be aware of the fact that there is a huge task ahead of us. we have got a responsibility to facelift this party, bring harmony within the party in order to enable the party to regain its glory in the political landscape of this country. As the new team, we mean business from the very start of our 5-year tenure, and will soon be heading out in the field. Our trajectory is going to be to complete unfinished business from the last term. And one of the key issues that was in my own promises to the FDC that remains undone is the redevelopment of these premises. We are going to be commencing with the redevelopment of the Najana Nkumbi headquarters, and to this end, we would like to call on common Ugandans, we would like to call on well-wishers, we would like to call on our members to put their hands together to ensure that this dream of having the Blue House started comes true within the next 1 year. These are our focus areas for the first year of our term in office. Number 1 is elections for special interest groups and in districts that never participated in the just concluded internal elections as per the decision of the last National Delegates Conference. There are a handful of districts that we need to reach out to so that they may constitute their leadership from the grassroots all the way to the district level. Of course, regrettably, they were unable to participate in the just concluded elections of the National Executive Committee for no fault of the leadership, but because of some of our friends who made it their business to spew discontent within the party. In doing this, we are going to put on top of our agenda the reconciliation agenda. And as I stated earlier in this statement, we extend an olive branch to each and every member of this party, to those who are sympathizers, who were merely misinformed. This is going to be an opportunity for you to come back to the fold. Secondly, we are going to organize our capacity and strengthen it by developing the organizational capacity assessment tool based on our parameters. We will be conducting organizational capacity assessment to assess the strengths and weaknesses and therefore the gaps that exist that needs to be filled, and this will be done at the National Executive Committee level. There is going to be orientation and training of new leaders in their roles and responsibilities, amongst which are representation, advocacy, resource mobilization, citizen mobilization, and conflict resolution. Number 3, and this is very key in our work, resources. We are going to spend an awful lot of time mobilizing resources through updating our fundraising strategy, identifying and profiling funding opportunities, both traditional ones and new ones. That is private sector, investments, foundations, development partners, goodwill individuals. So we are going all out to look out for these opportunities. Make courtesy missions to our traditional partners, make courtesy calls to new partners, discussing and proposing and updating internal resource mobilization mechanisms and training of fundraising committees in resource mobilization. Number 4, and this touches the media as well, we want to continue to build a lasting relationship with the media fraternity in this country. We'll be updating our communication strategy, identifying the key strategic focus areas from our manifesto and building our message around these areas. We'll be focusing on giving FDC a facelift through increased presence on media and social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, etc. And to this end, we would like to call on the cooperation of the media fraternity in and outside this country. We'll be participating and engaging in national and regional debates, and we'll be building capacity, empowering national, regional spokespersons to champion our cause in as far as this area is concerned. Number 5, membership and mobilization strategy. The FDC will develop a draft roadmap, a national, regional, district membership mobilization program. This will involve going out to the regions and to the districts to ensure that we mobilize right-thinking Ugandans to join the FDC. We'll update our membership registers and develop a digital database. And for the information of the country, the FDC has already developed an app that we are going to be launching very soon, where we have transited from what we want to call analog to digital registration of our members. And so all that it takes for a person who is aspiring to become a member of the FDC is to access that app, register through that app, pay up through that app, get a registration card, a registration card through that app, and it will also be possible to print that card from wherever you are, within the country or outside the country. And I am proud to say that FDC is taking a lead in this. All the other political parties in this country are paper political parties. They are analog political parties. And therefore they have got a lot to learn from us. We want to invite the NRM, NUP and all the other political parties to come and learn from our example that we are pioneering as the only political party, not in the opposition alone, but even, overtaking the one that is in power, that has remained a primitive political party and using primitive methods of conducting their business. Of course, we are alive to the fact that there is going to be an election in 2026 if nothing significant happens. And I have specifically said that because something significant could happen that would cause change in this country before the election of 2026. Mark my words. But if this doesn't happen, then we also have got our plans to participate in the elections. And therefore, we are going to develop a strategy to increase FDC elected leaders at all levels in 2026. At the moment, we have almost stagnated within the space of 30 to 40 members of parliament. This is going to change under the new leadership. We are going to be deliberate in as far as identifying candidates who can win. And we're going to do everything within our means to ensure that we develop the capacity of these candidates. We will continue to mobilize for membership, consolidate our current membership so that the attrition rate is reduced. And of course, I have said that we are going to do whatever is within our means to get back some of our lost members. We'll address any disagreements within the party and call for reconciliation. And therefore, while I'm at this point, I want to make a clarion call on behalf of the people seated here to those our members who have decided to defy the authority here, that there is still space for dialogue. We are not going to give up on dialoguing with those who have got dissenting voices within the party, but they have got to be members first. That is most important. We'll map the different events, calendars leading to the general elections, and ensure the party and our members comply. It's my hope that the Electoral Commission stops its games that it's playing with the LC1, LC2, and Women Council elections. This does not help democracy. It is our expectation that the roadmap, the sketch roadmap that was issued by the Electoral Commission in respect to the election of 2026 will now be sheathed and a clear document presented to the Ugandan population well ahead of time. That is our expectation. We'll organize national, regional, and district consultative meetings, both physical and virtual, to gather members' views. And this is going to start in earnest. The next outing that we are going to be making will ensure that we gather members' views about what needs to be done. We do not have a monopoly of knowledge sitting here in Najjanankumbi. We are not the FDC in its full formation, and therefore we rely on our grassroots supporters, our foot soldiers, to give us such information. We'll focus on remobilizing the former FDC stronghold areas to reclaim the lost victory. You know that we have maintained a presence in a good part of this country. Our presence has been affected by the internal contradictions and also the strong hand of the NRM that operates from outside the law to bully political parties in the opposition. And I want to remind the NRM that our foundation is based on blood, sweat, and tears of the Ugandan population. I want to remind the NRM government that ours is a revolutionary party and that we are not going to spare any effort in carving our own space, in fighting for our own space that the NRM would like to own at the expense of common Ugandans. We are going to build and strengthen a generation of young men and women leaders. And while I'm at this point, those of you who followed the elections of the youth and the women within the FDC will now have a good story to tell about our capacity. All the candidates were top-notch, polished candidates. We were lost of choice. We didn't know who would become the woman leader, the women's leader, who would become the youth leader. All of them were quality candidates. And a number of them benefiting from our leadership promotional program, which we will continue with through the Leadership Academy that was launched sometime last year. We are going to encourage the persons with disabilities to engage in politics. And to our friends, persons with disabilities, we want to say, you have never been second-class citizens of this country. You are first-class citizens. And therefore, with the right to participate equally in political activities in the FDC and nationally. And that is our promise to the persons with disabilities. The above activities, finally, will adequately prepare the party to resume its pursuit of freedom of our motherland at the start of our second year in office. Once all this is done in the first year, then we will be announcing to you our program, which will not be limited to just politicking. We are going to invoke other means provided for within the Constitution of Uganda to ensure that we bring change to this country. Thank you very much. They're willing to dialogue. Whereas on our part, we may be interested in dialogue, we cannot force anybody to dialogue with us. We are very straight in as far as this is concerned. Dialogue is going to be between the willing and on the same footing. We are not going to go into any dialogue where somebody thinks they are above us and we are below them. No, that will not happen. We will not dialogue with anybody who continues to insult us and to demean the leadership in Najanankumbi. We will not. We are not fools to do that. So dialogue is going to be out of mutual respect. Dialogue is going to be out of two parties or several parties willing to dialogue, and in an honest manner, not in a manner where you think you are going to bully us and we are going to accept to lie flat like an envelope while you trample upon us. That will not happen. So we are open to dialogue. Our constitution under Article 8 that I have cited compels us to bring harmony not only within the party but in the country. But if the next day you are going to be talking about us everywhere negatively, looking for ways of splitting the party, you would have offended both Article 12 and 13 of the Constitution, and we will not have any business dialoguing with you. Sorry? Well, we are just starting. We have been engaging privately elders within the party. We have been engaging some founders within the party. We are going to set up committees to ensure, from within NEC, subcommittees that will be reaching out to individuals and groups to see whether they are prepared to dialogue with us. Nobody should ever think that we are going to dialogue out from a point of weakness. No. That one, from the very start, we are going to be very clear. You hit us, we hit back at you. That is our DNA.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. I have my name and the media. My name is Number one, I would like you to explain that resolution because you are breaking ties with the people's government. Number two, I'm thinking the issue of bringing errant members to the disciplinary committee is becoming a remix of songs, because this is the fourth time you're mentioning about it. The first time, you did mention it on the day you were nominated to contest for president. And the second time was during your inaugural speech at Patida Samaj. You did mention it to me again in one of the interviews I had with you. And the fourth time is now, saying you are going to bring the errant members to your disciplinary committee. Don't you think these members who are errant will take this as a song? The president just speaks about it and nothing is done. Have you taken trouble to write to them? And how sure are you that this time something is going to be done for these members to come to the disciplinary committee? Thank you.
Jimmy, I want to say that on the first question, there was a resolution of the National Executive Committee before I became president of the FDC, that it would be a good thing to tackle the dictator using two approaches. The first front is through defiance or civil disobedience. The second is through elections. In 2016, in an election that I was deeply involved as the national field coordinator for our candidate, Dr. Besigye, we won that election. And so we decided that we should reclaim our victory by forming a people's government. I am a pioneer member of the people's government, by the way. The people's government is part of my handwork. And purely, purposely, to reclaim our victory. And so, the FDC continued to associate with the people's government for all this time, until some friction between the two developed, as I have stated in my statement. And therefore that rift has now caused the National Executive Committee to state very clearly that this relationship is not working out. Maybe for now we can divorce.
Separate.
Maybe separate, not divorce might not be right, because there is a possibility of a remarriage happening.
Yes.
You see, we are going to separate for the moment, and once the situation normalizes, we could come back together. In politics, never say no. Now, on the matter of the Elders Committee, is a provision of the Constitution. And unless we amend that Constitution, we will continue speaking about the Elders Committee. And so it's going to be constituted very soon. Management, the working committee is going to sit this week to consider the proposals for members in the different committees. And so don't get tired, Jimmy. Keep reporting that there is an Elders Committee in the FDC, because it's a constitutional provision that we are commanded to respect, and we will respect it. So once that committee is in place, it will carry out its duties. But dialogue is not going to be restricted to just that committee. Dialogue can happen outside that committee, and that is acceptable, again, under the Constitution. So we seek peace with our friends. Let them stop insulting us. Let them stop misrepresenting us. Let them stop abusing our symbols, our motto, our slogans, our colors, our emblem. If they really truly want to use this and they feel they are FDC, let them come and exercise their being FDC here. Not behaving like, you have a home and you go to the streets. What kind of person are you? The FDC has a home. So whoever has been sleeping in the streets, eating from garbage heaps, should actually come back home and receive the hospitality that the FDC promises every one of their members.
I had a question from this side.
No, I think we are done.
Of those people from using the party symbols and the name. So how far? What is
We have
that?
started. This is the beginning point. After this press conference is partly to sound a warning to whoever is doing this, that gesture is unwelcome and will not be accepted. Going forward, we shall observe what they do, and then we will inform you about our next course of action. We are not short of cards to play, and we'll be playing them as and when the necessity arises. Of course, we still hold our MasterCard very close to our chest. See, we need to define whom we are talking to. As far as I'm concerned, Elias Lukwago is not a member of the FDC. He's not. Because I've checked with the register where he resides from his village, and he does not qualify to be a member of the FDC. And together with him, all those people that he leads, with the exception of those who hold life membership, who have got corporate membership, that lasts very long period of time. In fact, life membership is provided for in the Constitution, and whatever quarrels we have with somebody, unless they revoke that life membership, they continue to be members of the party, unless they offend the Constitution of the FDC. So we want to shield those that we are going to be talking with to confirm whether we are talking to the right people. We are not going to waste time with non-members. That one, take it from us. We are not going to spend time talking to people, you know, bringing them. In fact, in any case, we would not be doing the right thing to bring them to the disciplinary committee, because the disciplinary committee is reserved for only members. I can't go for somebody from NUP and bring him to the disciplinary committee of the FDC. I would be out of my mind. Neither can I go to NRM or go to UPC, bring UPC people to the disciplinary committee. The disciplinary committee is only reserved for members of the FDC. And it's those that we are going to deal with. The others who want to continue misrepresenting us, I have told you, we are not short of cards to play on this matter. And we shall play them as and when the need arises.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Uganda Yancha.